What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the 2022 play-in tournament and share with you some of our observations from the games. Let's get into it.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about whether the NBA should keep or get rid of the play-in tournament. What are your thoughts? Should the NBA really keep the play-in tournament going forward?
I have mixed emotions about the play-in tournament, to be honest. I think that what it does give some type of hype to look forward to, especially as the season dwindles down. But I don't think it puts all the teams on an equal playing field when we're talking about those that secure 1 through 6. They get a whole week off. And then you have those teams that are 7 and 8 that have to scramble to try to get into these spots. I'm sorry, that's their 7 to 10 have to scramble to get into these spots. And then their games start in like the next 2 days. So it's like the top teams are refreshed, rested, able to go through game plans, preparing for their matchup. Whereas the teams that are in the play-in tournament, they miss out on the opportunity. So although it gives this big old hype up until the playoffs begin, it doesn't seem like it's a fair and equal playing field for all teams. And I don't like that piece about the play-in tournament.
Okay. So do you think they should get rid of it though?
I would be okay if they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually like it. I think it really gives us something to look forward to, and it's exciting. I mean, if you talk about the Nets and the Cavs, and that play-in game, I think that was very entertaining. Let's talk about the Nets and the Cavs and their play-in game. What are some of your observations from that matchup?
I think that all-star Jared Allen needed to be on the court. I hate that he wasn't a part of this matchup because I would have loved to see what it looked like with Jared Allen being on the floor as they're competing to go, both the Nets and the Cavs were competing for that 7 spot. So I think that was something that was missing for me. Was one of the
hmm
observations. What about you?
Yeah, and I noticed the Brooklyn Nets had their way in the paint. I mean, it was crazy. I'm like, wait a minute. The Cavs have three dominant bigs normally. There's
Yes.
no way if Jerry Allen, Laurie, and Evan were all working in concert that the Nets would have been able to just go, Kyrie up there getting his layups going off like that. So no, I think you gotta have the Cavs needed to have their bigs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Jared Allen's really huge, and and Bruce Brown just had his way. So I
hmm
don't know if that would have been the case. At least it may have slowed them down. I'm not saying that the Cavs would have won. It just would have been a different type of matchup. I believe it would have been a more
hmm
competitive matchup, especially with Jared Allen on the court. So he was a big missing piece for me in that matchup. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And Katie and Kyrie, they just played on another level. I mean, that's just that
Yeah.
championship experience in DNA. So
Yeah.
now the Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Clippers had their playing game. And I'm telling you, that right there was must
That was
see
good.
TV for
That
sure.
was the game to watch on that night. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the game was a really competitive game. It was really good. But again, the Clippers, again, another disappointing end to a game. Thanks to the Clippers. If you follow the Clippers, you may find yourself disappointed. But yeah, the matchup itself was really good. And so I did enjoy watching that game. I thought that each, t- I thought that the Timberwolves gave a little bit more, although I will admit that defense on Karl Anthony Towns,
hmm
that right there was a clinic. That was a clinic. And I think that the Clippers gave the blueprint for the next set of the next round one team to know how to at least, if not stop, at least slow down Karl Anthony Towns. Now, hopefully, they had enough time to kind of scheme against that.
Right.
But even with that being said, it's why it's important that you have enough players on your team that are pretty good, because what the Clippers did not have an answer for was Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell. They didn't have an
Oh,
answer for
no.
him. So once
Mm-mm.
Cat was out, it was like, okay, we got Cat. Yeah, but y'all got these other dudes that are just balling too, and they weren't prepared for that. And so yeah, the Clippers, it just that whole Cat shutdown was almost like, so what? Because in the end, the Timberwolves were victorious, and they were victorious because Anthony Edwards showed all the way out, and the unassuming D'Angelo Russell showed why he's still in the league. So what are we gonna
Yeah.
do with that? Yeah.
Yeah. I think the refs went foul crazy though. I mean, I just felt like they were not allowing the guys to play physical basketball. It was a very meaningful game. The stakes were high. Like, let the players play. But one thing is, they did call the fouls evenly across the
I
board.
have to agree with you on that. Yeah, but
Mhm.
it does mess up the momentum. It's like every time somebody's going to the basket, boom, boom. I was like, okay, y'all,
Mhm.
can we just kind of swallow the whistle a little bit? Maybe
Just a
it'll be
little.
better once the playoffs begin. But that was something that was really getting on my nerves, if I'm gonna be honest. But I can say I agree with you that I think it was pretty much leveled on both sides of the court. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Now, did you have a problem with the way the Timberwolves celebrated after the game?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Why would they not be extremely happy that they actually made a play to a playoff spot? They ain't been there since 2018. And
Mhm.
then when they did go, they went home early. So with the celebration, I think it was twofold. So it was the Timberwolves celebrating, and that Timberwolves team, I can see them doing that. It fit the Timberwolves roster narrative, right? And it fit them. So for them to
Mhm.
do bells and whistles and all the hoopla, all of that, and their fan base in
Oh,
that
yeah.
stadium, oh,
Yeah.
you would have thought it was actually a finals game. I'm just gonna be honest. So I was okay with that. But then the second piece of it, which I totally understand, was Patrick Beverley's excitement, his emotion. I am okay with that because I can understand how he's like, he probably felt vindicated. Like, y'all didn't want to pay me after all my hard sweat and tears and all this hard work I did for this that Clippers organization for that long, and you didn't want to pay me. And now I had to come over here and show y'all why y'all should have kept me. I was here for it. I loved it. I loved it. I get it from an individual standpoint for Patrick Beverley because I think part of the celebration was that, and then also collectively as a Timberwolves team, I think it just fit their narrative. Yeah, I was okay
Mhm.
with it. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it at all because, I mean,
Mm,
come on, let's just face it. This is a game. Most people like winning. So
yeah,
what? They celebrated. I was here for it. I loved it.
I
I
have no
thought it
problem
was
with it at
great.
all.
It created, like, some momentum for them going into the next series.
Yeah.
And I just think that, Patrick Beverly getting fined was a little over the top, right? They NBA fined him, I think,
For
$30,000 or
what?
something
For
like that.
what? For him to almost like point a finger to the team that didn't want him. Yeah. What are we talking about? The
Yeah.
league, the teams do this all the time. So
Hmm.
and Patrick Beverly, which I do like Patrick Beverly. I can say, and I've said it in previous um videos, that his antics, you can hate it or love it, right? And you will love it if it is benefit to the team. But we'll hate it if it causes the team to lose.
Right.
So what I do appreciate about Patrick Beverly, although I don't always enjoy all of his antics, I do appreciate about him being consistent, and he's going to be who he's going to be, and then you know what to expect. And so him being so excited, considering this season, when last season he was with the Clippers and they said, no, we don't want to pay you, in
Hmm.
essence, and for him to be so excited because he helped his dog nature and how he brings that swag to a game. He helps propel the Timberwolves to a win. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at
Yeah.
it. I get it, and I applaud him for that. It is what it is. Now, what I wanted them to do though is take that to the next series.
Ugh,
See,
it's
because
gonna it's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
know.
tough.
So hopefully they can. But again, this moment in time for the Timberwolves, I was okay with it. Not a problem.
Okay. All right. So the Nets secured number 7 and the Timberwolves as well, 7th in the West. Now let's move on to the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets matchup. That one, I felt like the Charlotte Hornets didn't play with a sense of urgency. And I don't know if it was because watching the games prior, it just seemed like the crowd was more into it. For some reason, in that game, the Atlanta fans were just kind of chill. I saw like Jay-Z looking at his phone, and nobody really seemed to be in it. I don't know. I don't know what it was. They were not feeding off of the crowd, which ended up being a dull game. So
It- for real. I
yeah.
kept saying, "Is this game over yet?"
Mhm.
It was like Big Brother, Little Brother. It's just what it seemed like. I mean, the game went and the game ended. That's how I feel about that game. I
Yeah.
was like, next, like,
Yeah, to be an elimination game, I was just like, "What? What is this?" But the Hornets could not make a shot at all. It
no,
was horrible. I
no,
think.
no, no. I'm gonna need for them to do something in this offseason to get some more defense. They got to figure it out. I need for them to step up their defensive level just a little bit. Now, I'm not saying they got to be like the Boston Celtics and because
Mhm,
that's not who they are. But you got to give me a little bit more on defense. I just need a little. I want you to take it up a tick
mhm,
next
mhm.
season on defense if you're gonna keep these players, or make some type of adjustments in the offseason to bring some more players that are more defensive minded because it does make for better basketball down the stretch. And I think that's what they were missing in this particular game, this particular
Yeah,
matchup.
Yeah, because if the shot ain't falling, you got to play some D. I mean, at
If
minimum,
the shot is not falling, you got to stop other shots. That's the part of it, right?
Mm-hmm,
I mean,
mm-hmm.
so yeah, it just like the game was lackluster. If I'm just gonna be honest, it was a
Yeah.
lackluster, and I was waiting for it to be over. And the Hawks, I don't see why they wouldn't win. It's just like
Right, right.
uh-huh.
Yeah, so the Hawks live to see another game, and the Pelicans and the Spurs. Now that matchup, CJ was just doing what he does. CJ and BI. I mean, I just really like them
Yeah,
together.
I like that duo as well. I like the duo. I think it fits. Their other players are really good as well as they fit in, the pieces that they need to fit in. But CJ is, I am so glad that he's actually on the Pelicans because now we get a chance to see he's now being able to showcase. I know
Yeah,
he did it with Portland, but this particular setup is a little bit different for me. And I think that it is really shining a highlight to all the basketball skills that CJ have. He is clever. I like watching him play.
yeah, me too. And BI, he's just, he's in his bag, deep
Yeah,
into his bag,
yeah, yeah.
fresh legs.
Mhm.
He's playing fantastic. Now, one thing I did notice is DeJounte Murray. It was his first game back from being
I feel
out
bad.
sick. And,
Mm.
and as expected, he was out of rhythm, shot 5 for 19 from the field. It was unfair to just throw him into an elimination game like
I
that.
just wish I can understand him wanting to come back as a player, but I would have been okay had he just sat out because I didn't like
Hmm.
seeing him like that. I don't know how I want because I know what he can bring to the court, and it was
Right.
obvious. It was obvious that he needed more time to condition to get ready for this particular game, right?
Hmm.
But Valanciunas, how you doing? I was like, oh yeah, yeah. So not only did you have CJ and Bi cutting up, then Valanciunas was able to get his little pieces in too. It just made for the Spurs just looked like they needed maybe a few more days of conditioning in order to compete, especially with DeJounte Murray. I mean, he just came back, from an
Yeah.
illness. So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
like that.
Nah, I didn't like that either. Now, in previous videos, I really sung the praises of Jackson Hayes, but I'm gonna need him if he gonna be on the court for 20 minutes. I need him to go to score a bucket. He went 0 points, 0 for 1 from the field, but they're gonna need him big time as they move forward in the playoffs. So the Atlanta Hawks sent the Hornets home, and the New Orleans Pelicans sent the Spurs home, which brings us to the real games, and that was the Atlanta Hawks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers with Jared Allen back in the lineup. Now, what did you see in that series
It
or
made it a
matchup?
much better game.
Mhm.
Much better game. They needed Jared Allen in that middle right there. I'm sorry. That Garland, Darius Garland, I like him.
Mhm.
I cannot wait to watch him play next season. I like him. And
Yeah.
then with Sexton coming back, that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
be
that's
good.
gonna be nice. That's gonna be
Mhm.
nice. Yeah. If they maintain their core. I think for me, the core of the Cavs, I think it would be Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. If you're gonna keep, I hope they keep those four players, at least those four, on the Cleveland Cavaliers for next season. Because I think it'd be really, I just can't wait to see what that looks like, right?
With that game, it was like the tale of two halves because I'm telling you, in the first half, the Hawks were so flat, couldn't make a basket. Trey Young, I think he had like 6 points. But in the second half, I think he dropped like 30, 32 points in the
Mhm,
second half.
mhm.
His three balls started dropping. He started cutting real good. But the thing is, when Clint Capella went out, I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers just took their foot off the gas.
Why would they
That
do
was
that?
when they should have went in full throttle. I don't know
Yep.
why they did that, and that was the game.
Yeah, but you know what? Trey Young is really good for that, though. His first half performances sometimes can be a little sketchy, but sometimes when he finally gets in his rhythm, it is unstoppable. Now, let me just say this: I know that Trey Young has a great three ball, but his floater,
Yeah, I know it's money.
that
It's
floater,
money.
every time and I'm gonna need teams to figure out how to get a little bit higher to block that, but because they
Oh,
can't. It is a night. They tell me, "Oh, ice Trey because he do the threes." No, it's almost he has ice in his veins when he puts the floater up. Like it is so consistent. That for me is like you can't if it's three ballers hitting and he got that floater going. It's a
mhm.
wrap. It's a
Yeah.
wrap. So I really enjoy I expect him now to do the three ball, right? But when I see him go up for those floaters, when he has space to do it, I'm like, ooh, y'all can't stop that. And that's ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
it is so nice and so consistent. I just am like,
Yeah, I
get it.
really enjoyed his shimmy at half court. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's cute. I mean, I expect him to do that, and
Mhm,
he should be doing it in the next series as well. But yeah, for me, the highlight for me when I watch Trae Young's games, yes, it's the three ball, but that floater, oh, when he puts that up, I'm like,
mhm.
that's poetic right there. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Hawks sent the Cleveland Cavaliers home, which brought us to the New Orleans Pelicans and the Clipper matchup. Oh my goodness, that one right there. I mean, at one point, I think the Pels were up 13 and
Mhm.
then they were down by 14. Like it was a tremendous swing and a lot of lead changes in that game. Really enjoyed it, especially for it being an elimination game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But again, the Clippers will disappoint you. And for some reason, they can't close it out. So here we go. And it's so weird because they were able to do that regular season. But I guess, these types of games are a little bit different. And, the wind was sucked out of the Clippers, I really believe, when Paul George was unable to play due to health and safety protocols. When you find out the morning of, that ain't cool.
Mhm.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
And, I hope he gets well and all that's good stuff and everything works out. But, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, no. So the Clippers disappointing. But again,
Who
enjoy
who did
your
they disappoint? Did they disappoint you? They didn't disappoint me. I mean,
yeah,
I had the
yeah,
Pelicans
because
winning.
I had the Clippers winning both. I had the Clippers actually winning. Yeah, I said I had the Clippers for both games, right? So I had them if they were going to. No, I didn't have them winning the first game. I had them winning the first game, and then if they didn't win the first game, I at least had them winning the second game. And they just, so yeah, I was disappointed in their performance because when are you going to be able to close out these types of games? So you can do that during the regular season, but when these types of games come, then y'all fall flat. Like, and I'm sorry, and again, Batum and how he defends taller dudes is so good because he did lock up Bi. At least the first part in the third quarter, he locked up Bi, but they figured it out. Of course, you lock up one player, but you got these other players. Y'all need
Mhm.
Ty Lue. I want y'all to lock up one and then have answers for others. Just don't keep that one strategy, and all of a sudden you just stuck, and everybody else is able to get to the basket when they want to, and shoot the three ball when they want to, get the mid range going. But yeah, I do. One of the highlights for me in both games is the way the Clippers were able to figure out how to lock up using Batum as their defensive point for that to stop someone that's bigger than him. I thought that was pretty cool. I did enjoy
Mhm.
watching that. So, but yeah,
Yeah. But hey, I really like what Herbert Jones and Trey Murphy the third were out there doing as rookies. Oh, it says a lot about their team. And with
yeah,
BI and CJ as
yeah,
well. Oh
yeah.
my goodness, the Pels. And then you got Zion just waiting to play,
I can't.
chomping at the bit. And once he joins that nucleus, oh my goodness.
He needs to stay at, I know we talked earlier this season where he doesn't like he wants to be there, and I still believe that, but I think he should stay
Yeah, he needs to.
because CJ, BI, and Zion for next season, that's gonna be must see TV. That can be
Mhm.
a good watch. And I can see if that can stay healthy, that nucleus can stay healthy, I can see them doing pretty good in the next season in the standings. I can see it. Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's good for them. So yeah, no, I agree. But the Pelicans, you know what? Hey, you play better, you win. That's just what it boils down to. And they did that. So good for them.
So the Pelicans go on to play the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks. They get to go down to South Beach and play the Miami Heat. Now, hey, we'll be following and see what's going on with that series as well as the entire playoffs as time goes on. But for right now, we are going to wrap up this episode. Make sure you drop down in the comments and let us know your thoughts on the play-in tournament. And we'll see you guys on the next one. But until then,
Peace.
peace out.